Well, hey there. Welcome to the Pawpaw Chronicles and More with Jim. Well, today I'm out here taking an assessment of what it is I'm seeing and trying to make a plan of what it is that I want to do. This is the more part. It does have to do with pawpaws, but right now I'm standing amongst my chestnuts. And an issue that I am having with these chestnuts is I'm starting to get a little bit of dieback, and blight has come in here. These bigger chestnuts, by the way, are American Chinese hybrid chestnuts. So they're not immune to the blight. The blight can take them out. I've been pretty fortunate and pretty lucky. Over the years, I've collected a lot of chestnuts out here, but here in the last couple of years, the chestnut production is not all that great. We got a lot of hulls, chestnut hulls on the ground, and not a whole lot of chestnuts to be had. Not to mention, the chestnuts are extremely small. They're not what they used to be. That being said, what I wanted to share with you is I'm thinking of going ahead and taking quite a few of these trees out of here and open it up a little bit. Like I said, we have blight issues out here, and that's something, that happens. And right now I'm looking on the ground, I'm seeing all the material on the ground that came from out of the trees, the leaves, the chestnut hulls that are non-viable. And I'm also seeing mushrooms throughout this area, different types of mushrooms. So that tells me there's a lot of mycorrhiza in the ground here. That being said, once I take these out, I'm going to start planting back here of pawpaws. The ground, I believe, is going to be really good as far as planting pawpaws back here. And I'm looking over the entire area, and I'm willing to bet I can get well over 100 trees back here with no problem. The chestnuts were not planted in an orchard style. They were planted sporadically, and it was because I wanted wind to help in pollinating these trees. These trees have been here since the early 2000s, and some of them a little bit later. But for the most part, I think this is going to be a good site for me to work with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the camera. We'll do a little bit of panning around, a little bit of zooming in, and talking with you a little bit about the plans that I'll be working with. Bear with me. What I'm going to do is turn the camera around to my right, and we're going to look back through this area right here. Now, that area back through here, that's kind of a damp area. I planted a bunch of seeds back there. It's opened up, and the seeds didn't really come up, but higher up on the elevation of that bottom, basically along that edge there, I had 5 pawpaw trees come up. So, I consider that wild mix that I've talked about as far as balance for your trees. And by the way, that is to the west. And we're looking at trees that are in bad shape. They're all, not all of them, but some of them are starting to die out. I can show you this one right here, and I'm going to zoom in on it. Right there. You can see right there is a hole on the side of that tree. The bark had separated on that tree, and it started to rot inside, and then the bark started to grow back around it, the hole. That was a hole that went all the way down to the ground, and that was the blight that got to that tree. And I'll show you another one over here that I'm going to point out to you. Right there, you see two trees right there. The one closest to you is okay, but the one that's further out, see how black that is? That has what I suspect to be blight, and it's pretty much dead. There's a few trees over that way that are expired. And I'll continue to pan a little bit around. Right there. There's another tree that had died. It just didn't make it. And we have a few other trees that have a lot of damage to them. Let me see if I can get to that tree right there. The one that has the two trees right there against each other. A mulberry grew up beside that, but that chestnut there, it too has blight. And then I have one large one, disregard the ground blind, right there. And that tree is dead. Let me pan this back around to where we started at and zoom it back out. There we go. Now, just a moment. This is where my thoughts come in at. As I'm walking through here and I'm looking over the area, I'm looking for a scenario that would benefit me as well as benefit the trees I intend to put out here. A lot of these trees are going to come out. We're going to open up the canopy. We're going to get all this up here out of the way. The west side, we have a lot of wood line over there that will help shield the trees from winter scald, winds from the west during the winter, as well as the north. There's a hill right there, a lot of trees going up that hill. That'll help shield these trees that I intend to plant from winter scald. Out here behind me would be the south, and there is a hillside up there. And over here would be east. I have a bunch of persimmons in the tree tubes that you probably noticed as I was panning, and there's some oak trees there, and there's a few chestnuts over there I'm going to leave standing, and we got canopy to the east. One of the things that I noticed earlier this year, we had a late frost, and I've tried to pay attention to what was going on with that late frost. A lot of the trees that were out in the open, the blooms were just blown up. It just zapped them. I had Rigel out there, probably lost about 97–98% of its blooms, but we still managed to get a couple clusters of fruit out of that tree, as well as canopus. And the same for an NC1 out here. But one thing I noticed, the sunflower out there, there's 5 other trees that had fruit in them. That sunflower by itself had more fruit in it than all 5 combined together. And the one thing that I noticed and tried to take a mental note was to the east side of that sunflower stands a big maple tree. So when the frost hit everything and the sun was coming up, that tree was protected from that eastern sun, and the frost melted away before it got to that sunflower. And I also noticed that on the overleaf that I got fruit out of this year, it had quite a few fruit in it, and it was shielded from that east sun. So my thinking is over here, when I plant this, we're going to leave all that there to help shield and protect those trees from that early season frost, or that late season frost. And hopefully that'll help the trees out. The ground itself is probably going to offer up a lot for these little trees to grow because of the leaf matter over almost a couple decades that's been falling. Oh, 1.5 decades, take that back. It's been falling in here. And not to mention, when I walk throughout here and look things over, I find mushrooms, different sorts of mushrooms out here that have come up out of the ground. Of course, I don't pick them up because I wouldn't know the difference between what's good for you and what ain't. But that being said, that means there's mycorrhiza in the ground. And I believe somewhat, in my mind, there may be a symbiotic relationship between the chestnut and the pawpaw, because both at one time were native to North America. The North American chestnut, that is. But these are chestnuts. A chestnut is a chestnut in my book. But this is just one of the things I wanted to share with you, and get some feedback through comments, because I welcome comments that you guys put on the page, and I do try to answer comments the best way I can. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this. I got some other things throughout the property I need to get done. I just wanted to take a break and talk with you a minute about my plans, and then as time goes on, I'll share the results of my plans. I hate to see it all go, but it is what it is. My name's Jim. If you like what you see, subscribe. Don't forget to click on that bell for any notifications. Any comments or questions that you may have, I welcome. Y'all have a God bless day.